It's hard to believe, but it's already been 12 years since Bioshock amazed us with one of the most well thought out and orchestrated plot twists in the history of this medium. Now, if you haven't played Bioshock yet, I ask, would you kindly do so first, because this video will contain major spoilers. For those of you who have played the game, you of course know about the moment in which your true origin is revealed and much of the game becomes recontextualized. It turns out a lot of the hero's actions are done through a form of mind control, which in the field of psychology is most associated with the concept of hypnosis. So today, in this episode of Psychology of Gaming, the series where we look at how psychological principles are worked into games and how games can affect us psychologically, we separate the facts and myths of hypnosis and see if Bioshock's brain-busting twist has any basis in reality. So I think the easiest way to go about this is by first recapping the moment in Bioshock that blew everyone's mind and then discuss how hypnosis relates to it. Keep in mind, I am assuming that you've already played the game and there's gonna be major spoilers, so please play the game before continuing. So up until this point, you've been playing the game as Jack, a man whose plane crashed above the hidden city of Rapture. Upon descending to the modern-day Atlantis, Jack meets Atlas, a man who vows to save himself, his family, and now you. He guides you through Rapture, instructing you ever so kindly on where to go and what to do. Eventually, you watch as Atlas's family dies in front of him before he vows to get revenge on Rapture's founder, Andrew Ryan. The player naturally feels sympathetic towards Atlas's cause, as he claims to be a man of the people, and it only makes sense to take his side after we watch Andrew Ryan do something as heinous as killing our companion's family. But that's the gotcha moment, because just as we approach Ryan, hell-bent on getting revenge and killing the so-called son of a bitch, we're greeted with this cutscene. And it's just so good that I'm gonna let it play out.
The assassin has overcome my final defense, and now he's come to murder me. In the end, what separates a man from a slave? Money? Power? No. A man chooses. A slave obeys. You think you have memories. A farm. A family, an airplane, a crash, and then this place. Was there really a family? Did that airplane crash, or was it hijacked? Forced down by something less than a man, something bred to sleepwalk through life until they are activated by a simple phrase spoken by their kindly master. Was a man sent to kill, or a slave? A man chooses. A slave obeys. Come in. Stop, would you kindly? Powerful phrase. Familiar phrase.
Would you kindly? Would you kindly get this? Would you kindly find that? Would you kindly find it? Would you kindly find it? Would you kindly get this? Would you kindly head to Ryan's office and kill the son of a bitch?
Sit, would you kindly? Stand, would you kindly? Run! Stop! Turn. A man chooses. A slave obeys. Kill! Juices!
So as you are probably remembering now, it is revealed that Atlas was misleading you all along in a coup d'etat to overtake the city from Ryan's control. It is revealed that your character was born into a science experiment coordinated by Atlas, who is now revealed to be Frank Fontaine, and you are Andrew Ryan's illegitimate son. Through a series of rigorous growing techniques and scientific experiments, you reached full adulthood in only 2 years and were programmed with a form of mind control that was triggered by the phrase, "Would you kindly?" After undergoing these experiments, Jack was sent to the surface world with a set of childhood memories and life experiences built right into his brain, which conjures a whole philosophical argument on its own. Jack was programmed to get on the plane that fateful night, and it is revealed that he was the one who hijacked the plane and crashed it. Re-watching the opening cutscene clearly shows the words, "Would you kindly?" scribbled on a gift, asking Jack to not open the package until he was on the plane, which is a great little touch. The contents inside obviously triggered Jack to take down the plane, and his unique genetic code allowed him to access Rapture. From there, Atlas uses the phrase, "Would you kindly?" as the hypnotic trigger that forces the silent Jack to do his bidding. You know, as the player, you're just kind of following along with what you're being told to do, but in-game, Jack's actions and silence are contextualized as being forced by Atlas's guidance, and it's done through the use of the hypnotic triggering phrase, "Would you kindly?" This is why Andrew Ryan says a man chooses and a slave obeys, as he reveals to the player that you are nothing more than a manipulated slave to a greater and more powerful force. You and Jack are in the same shoes at that moment. It's called mind control in-game, but in reality, it most closely resembles the public's understanding of hypnosis. Now, believe it or not, hypnosis is a real phenomenon that has been studied by psychologists and utilized by therapists. However, it probably doesn't align with the perspective most people have towards it. When most people think of hypnosis, they visualize a performer on stage who is using a pocket watch to put people into a deep trance. And of course, once those people are hypnotized, they are under complete control of the hypnotist, according to many members of the general public. The truth is, though, most of that assumption doesn't hold any merit, and the mind control aspect of hypnosis is the most over-exaggerated and Hollywoodized stigma surrounding the practice of hypnosis. For many people, their only experience with hypnosis will be at an entertainment show where people are hypnotized and led to do funny things on stage. But in the field of psychology, hypnosis is viewed as a hyper-attentive and supremely focused state of consciousness. It's defined as an alternative form of therapy which features a trained therapist making healthy and productive suggestions to a patient who has entered a hyper-focused state of mind. A therapist who uses hypnosis as a treatment method for a patient isn't doing anything manipulative to put a person into a trance-like state. Instead, the therapist simply urges the patient to enter the hypnotic state with encouraging words and breathing techniques. The patient themselves are the ones who enter the hypnotic state on their own, but it doesn't work for everyone. Many people who don't believe in hypnosis are the ones who are unable to be hypnotized themselves. Recent studies show that cultural and biological factors play a role in determining how hypnotizable a person is, and that person's perspective on the treatment plays a huge role in determining its effectiveness for that individual. To put it simply, if you don't believe in hypnosis, it won't work on you. But if you have an open mind towards it, your body and mind won't resist, and it will be much easier to enter the trance state. Once in this trance-like state, a person is hyper-focused on what is going on in their mind, and that's why they appear to be almost half asleep. The brain is actually temporarily putting aside most of the information that is coming in through the five senses. Now let me be clear, the brain is still bringing in all that information that you're seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, and feeling, but it is filtering out most of that information and blocking it from coming to the conscious active mind. It stops you from thinking about the information so that you can remain hyper attentive on what's going on within your mind. Within this super focused state, people become more susceptible to the power of suggestion. Within a performance, this is used to comedic effect as the hypnotist is suggesting but not forcing the person to do certain actions. Within a therapy session, the therapist may suggest ways of improving one's life or encouraging certain healthy behaviors. The idea is that within this trance-like state, the therapist's suggestions will take root deep in a person's subconscious mind so that it can drive them towards a healthier life. Oftentimes, a person will opt to try hypnotherapy for one of the following three reasons. First, to deal with chronic pain. Second, to lower anxiety about upcoming stressful situations. Or third, to help them quit their abuse of drugs like tobacco, alcohol, or more hardcore drugs. It's also pretty common for a patient to have to undergo this therapy style multiple times in order for it to have a true effect on them. When in the hypnotic state, a person has entered into an altered state of consciousness, which is another huge broad topic studied in more detail within the field of abnormal psychology. Some other examples of altered states of consciousness would be the mind on drugs or the mind while sleeping or dreaming. Hypnosis is just another altered state. When it comes to hypnosis though, there are plenty of theories explaining what exactly happens within the mind when we enter a hypnotic trance. Most of these explanations fit into one of the following three categories: role theory, altered state theory, and dissociation theory. The role theory is one that a lot of hypnosis skeptics take, claiming that many people who are hypnotized are simply acting out their internal understanding of what hypnosis is. The altered state theory argues that the person hypnotized is not acting, but instead are in an actual altered state of thinking. And finally, the dissociation theory takes it a step further by stating that the person's conscious mind is being split when hypnotized, with one stream of thought focusing on what the therapist is suggesting, while the other stream focuses on absorbing information that comes from the unconscious mind. The practice of hypnosis has proven to be kind of difficult to explain, but I can assure you that Bioshock's portrayal of it isn't all that accurate. However, it is still exhilarating. Bioshock's hypnosis is better described as mind control because Jack is being actively manipulated outside of his control by the use of a triggering phrase. Whenever he is told a command with the phrase, "Would you kindly," he has no choice but to obey it.
Now would you kindly head to Ryan's office and kill the son of a bitch?
And this doesn't align with how hypnosis actually works. Therapists don't have phrases that will automatically put a person into a hypnotic state, and even if they did, the person wouldn't have their brains hijacked by the therapist. In reality, a hypnotized person is more susceptible to the power of suggestion, but commands don't override their minds completely. You see, a person who is hypnotized would never do something through suggestion that they wouldn't do in a normal state of consciousness. Jack's state is something you'd see out of an action or superhero movie where a character completely loses free will under the effects of mind control. And if I haven't made it clear yet, hypnosis isn't mind control, although it does make for a damn good story in this game. It would appear that Jack's condition seems to be a fictional exaggeration on both the concepts of hypnosis and classical conditioning, but they're just that. fictional adaptations. Just like the hypnotist on stage who is making your friends dance around like monkeys, Bioshock's twist is simply a form of entertainment. It was a way to make the player reconsider their own actions by recontextualizing the whole story using the guise of an altered form of hypnosis. In the end, Bioshock's twist is well thought out, it's surprising, and it's very meta, but it isn't based much in reality. Let me end this video by thanking you very much for watching all the way through, especially if you're a subscriber. I've had a lot of really great comments lately telling me how much people are enjoying the content, and I always love seeing that kind of stuff, so again, thank you. I particularly enjoyed making this video as the topic of Bioshock's twist was actually one of the driving concepts and ideas for starting the Psychology of Gaming series. So I'm glad I've finally been able to tackle it and make this video. If you enjoyed this one, consider checking out the rest of the Psychology of Gaming series, as I've covered a bunch of different games now on a lot of different psychological topics. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. Please leave a like if you enjoyed the video, consider subscribing for more, follow me on Twitter at NopNapNarp, and as always, have a nice day, and take care.